Late March. 3 provinces. 1 prize. Say it out loud. Late March. Because according to recent reporting, the ANC's big provincial battles in Gauteng, the Eastern Cape, and Limpopo are not just local drama. They are shaping the chessboard for 2027, when the ANC is expected to choose its next party president, a decision that will shape who leads the ANC into the next national cycle. Now listen to me. If you want to understand how power really works in South Africa, you have to watch what happens inside the ANC before the country ever votes again. And today, Gauteng is the pressure point. This is not just party politics. This is control of delegates, slates, metros, coalitions, and the story you are allowed to tell. So hit like now, because what comes next is heavy. And subscribe, because we are not done digging. Late March, that's the month you need to lock in. Because in Gauteng, the fight for ANC provincial chair is being framed as Panyaza Lesufi versus Nomuntu Nkomo Ralehoko. And the reporting gets even more revealing. Nkomo Ralehoko has publicly claimed she believes she is destined to win. And she did not frame it as politics. She framed it as destiny. She has been quoted saying she was told by God she will be the next provincial chair.
One of you, because I know that I'm going to get it. Because it's not mine. It has been designated by God. I have been told by God that this one belongs to me.
But this is not just about confidence, it is about alignment. According to many reports, Nkomo Ralehoko is described as an ally of ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula, while Lesufi is described as backing Paul Mashatile. Hear that again? Mbalula side, Mashatile side. Now ask yourself one simple question. Why would a provincial chair race feel like a national succession rehearsal? Because, again, according to the same reporting, these provincial conferences are seen as key signals heading into the ANC National Conference in 2027, where multiple names are being discussed as potential contenders, including Paul Mashatile, Fikile Mbalula, National Assembly Speaker Thoko Didiza, and possibly Patrice Motsepe.
We do think that you need to assist us to be where. And that process is not a process that it's 1 or 2 person deciding, not just a face. What type of a collective? Because you don't lead alone. You lead with people.
So when Gauteng moves, the whole party feels it, and it gets sharper. Reports say Lesufi appears to have support in key regions like Johannesburg, Ekurhuleni, and Sedibeng, while Nkomo Ralehoko is said to have support in Tshwane and parts of the West Rand. Do you see the map forming? Johannesburg, Ekurhuleni, Tshwane. Those are not just names. Those are voting machines. They are budgets. They are jobs. They are influence. And the moment you control a region, you can shape who shows up, who gets heard, and who gets counted. Which brings me to the part that made me stop. Johannesburg, December 2025, 3 days, 1 conference. And now, a demand for a police probe. I want you to look at the wording. According to reporting, ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula wanted the police to investigate the outcomes of the ANC Johannesburg Regional Conference, where his ally Dada Marero lost a top leadership position to Loyiso Masuku, and the number matters. Masuku beat Marero 184 to 149. That is not a rumor. That is the count that lit the match.
And well, we need to also just express to the viewers that we have reached out to the other candidate for the position of Johannesburg Regional Chairperson, that is Loyiso Masuku.
Now pause. Internal party elections. But the police? That is the kind of move that turns a faction fight into a public crisis. And the details matter. The same report says Mbalula instructed ANC leaders in Gauteng to hand over conference-related material to the police to probe alleged irregularities at a 3-day conference held in Johannesburg in December 2025. Not rumors on WhatsApp. The letter, as reported, calls for ballot papers, boxes, raw data, consolidated data, and the Elections Agency report to be submitted to the South African Police Service with immediate effect. And it even spells out how the handover should happen in the presence of ANC security, led by Patrick Mathebula, plus the ANC Electoral Committee and a representative of the ANC Veterans League. And what were the allegations? According to a report published this week, the disputes included claims that the announced results did not match the raw data, allegations that candidate lists were altered, concerns about the conduct of the agency that administered the process, questions about how that agency was appointed, and alleged conflicts of interest involving provincial task team members and the elections agency. Let me say this carefully. Those are allegations described in the report, not proven facts in a courtroom. But here is why this matters. Even the suggestion of mismatched raw data is political gasoline, because once you say the numbers do not match, every faction starts telling supporters, we were robbed, and then every decision after that becomes poisoned. Now, here is the twist. It could reopen the conference process, potentially even forcing a rerun, and it shifts the fight from internal mechanisms into the public arena. So the question becomes simple. Is this about cleaning up a process, or is it about controlling the outcome? I am not accusing anyone of a crime. I am asking what the timing suggests, because this is happening while the late March provincial battles are heating up, and while alliances are being drawn for 2027. And then, right on cue, another report drops. Other reports say the ANC in Gauteng denied that police were involved, and said the investigation into irregularities at the Greater Joburg Regional Conference was internal. Hear that again. One narrative says, hand it to the police, according to the report. Another says, no cops involved. That is not just confusion. That is a power struggle playing out in real time. And if you think this is contained inside Joburg, you are missing the bigger story. Because the same week, Ekurhuleni starts shaking.
The violence, the collapse of council, there has been no stop to that. We even see today a 15-minute caucus that was over half an hour ago. Now, a speaker is there to maintain the smooth running of council. The speaker should have, after 15 minutes, rang the bell and said, 15 minutes is over, you now need to start the business of the day.
Look at Ekurhuleni like a warning light. According to recent reporting, tension is mounting in Ekurhuleni Metro, and the ANC's dispute with the EFF is threatening the ANC's grip in key Gauteng municipalities. Now slow down. Ekurhuleni is not a small side story. If you pull the wrong thread there, the whole Gauteng coalition fabric can tear. And here is the reported trigger. A storm is brewing over a possible reconfiguration of the municipality's government, and Ekurhuleni Mayor Fikile Mbalula plans to remove EFF members from his mayoral committee. According to the report, sources described a push to get rid of the EFF because the relationship had deteriorated badly. But then comes the provincial fear. The same reporting says the ANC provincial leadership wanted Jakaza to hold off, worrying the move could negatively affect ANC arrangements in Tshwane and Johannesburg, where it co-governs with the EFF among other parties. You see what this is? Ekurhuleni is one metro. But the consequences can travel, because coalitions are not built on love. They are built on bargains. Break one bargain, and every other partner asks, am I next? And it gets even bigger. The report says sources believed the Ekurhuleni move could even affect Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi's minority provincial government, described as being supported by parties including the MK Party and the EFF, along with others. So now you have three pressure points at once. 1. A provincial chair battle in Gauteng tied to national ambitions. 2. A Johannesburg conference dispute with allegations about voting data and calls involving police. 3. An Ekurhuleni coalition fight that could ripple into other metros in the province. Late March. Say it again. Late March. Because if Gauteng breaks into open faction warfare, the ANC does not just lose internal unity, it risks losing the machinery that keeps it in control of Gauteng's metros. And once metros wobble, service delivery collapses, budgets get trapped, and voters punish you. That is the real talk part, not ideology, power. The part 4, the evidence staircase, step by step. Now do this with me. Do not jump to conclusions. Walk up the steps. Step 1. The national prize. Multiple reports frame the late March provincial conferences as crucial in shaping who is positioned for 2027 at the ANC National Conference. Step 2. The Gauteng alignment. The reporting describes one side aligned to Mbalula and the other aligned to Mashatil through Lesufi. Step 3. The Johannesburg flashpoint. A December 2025 three-day conference ends with a leadership result that triggered disputes. Then, in one report, Mbalula's letter called for conference materials to be handed over to police to probe alleged irregularities. Step 4. The split narrative. In a separate report, the Gauteng ANC denied police involvement and said the probe was internal. Step 5. The Metro tripwire. Another report describes mounting tensions in Ekurhuleni linked to ANC versus EFF dynamics and warns of province-wide coalition repercussions. Now, after you walk up those steps, here is the big question. Is Gauteng becoming the battlefield where the 2027 ANC succession is being decided early? Not in speeches, in structures, in credentials, in who controls the metros, and in who controls the official story when votes are disputed. Part 5. Why internal ANC fights turn into national problems. Let me explain this in plain language. When a party controls government, party fights do not stay inside the party, because internal winners become public decision makers. They decide who gets deployed to which job. They influence budgets, tenders, and priorities. They decide who becomes mayor, speaker, MMC. So when you hear regional conference, do not think private event. Think who holds the steering wheel. And when a conference outcome is disputed, the damage spreads in two directions. One direction is legal and procedural. Disputes, appeals, recounts, reruns. The other direction is psychological. Supporters start believing the system is rigged. Then they stop cooperating. Then governance becomes sabotage. Now bring that back to Ekurhuleni. If one side in Gauteng believes the coalition with the EFF is saving the province, they will defend it. If another side believes that coalition is bleeding the ANC, they will try to end it. One report describes that tension directly, including the fear that a hard move in Ekurhuleni could blow back in Tshwane and Johannesburg. So when people call this a civil war, do not picture guns. Picture a party eating itself in meeting rooms. Picture letters, lists, numbers, and then one side saying police, another side saying internal only. That is the moment you should lean forward. Now zoom out. Because the reporting is clear, it is not only Gauteng. Multiple reports describe March conferences in Gauteng, the Eastern Cape, and Limpopo as crucial to who becomes the next ANC president. In the Eastern Cape, the reported contest is Oscar Mabuyane seeking re-election against Lulama Nchukai Toby. In Limpopo, the reported contest is between John MPE and Fofi Ramathuba for the provincial chair position. And again, the late March timing is highlighted in the reporting. Why should you care? Because 3 provinces moving at the same time creates momentum. It creates headlines. It creates winners who can claim the branches are with us. And it creates losers who might say, we were blocked. Now connect it. If Gauteng is already fighting over conference outcomes and accusations about data, how clean do you think the next round of conference politics is going to feel? That is not me claiming fraud. That is me predicting perception. And perception is enough to destabilize. Let's talk about Mbalula for a second. Not as a personality, as a signal. According to a report published this week, the letter was dated December 28th. And it was directed to the Gauteng Provincial Task Team Coordinator, Hope Papo, referencing disputes reported to his office about what allegedly happened at the conference. Quick context, because this is not normal.
And we want to thank all ANC members who have conducted themselves with decency and decorum throughout this process to enable us to conclude on this matter in a proper, well-informed and disciplined way. That is how the ANC that is renewing itself should conduct its business. And we also want to thank everybody in the leadership of the ANC in the province of Gauteng, who have also conducted themselves in a disciplined way throughout this process.
Gauteng is being run inside the ANC by an interim provincial task team after the party reconfigured its provincial leadership structures. So, when a letter lands on the desk of the task team, it is already a sign the province is in a managed crisis mode. And the alleged issues listed are not small. Raw data versus announced results, altered lists, concerns about the elections agency, alleged conflicts. That is a full list of process legitimacy attacks. When a party's secretary general is associated with a move like that, you have to ask, is he trying to be seen as the cleaner, or is he trying to be the controller? Again, I am not making a legal accusation. I am asking a political question. because the same reporting also raises the possibility that the decision could be linked to ambition for 2027, and it points to expected competition between Mashatile and Mbalula at the national conference. Now look at Gauteng's chair battle again. The reporting describes Nkomo Ralehoko as Mbalula's ally and Lesufi as backing Mashatile. So every move in Joburg, every whisper in Ekurhuleni, every slate in Tshwane suddenly looks like a national chess move. That is why people are calling this game over. But I do not think it is game over yet. I think it is game on. And late March is the clock. This is where it gets spicy. A report says Ekurhuleni ANC structures wrote to Luthuli House, and the letter asked the ANC Secretary General to intervene to facilitate engagement about strengthening the collaboration government in Ekurhuleni after disputes with provincial leadership did not yield a positive outcome. Stop right there. The word intervene tells you everything. It means the region is not confident the province will fix it. It means the region is escalating. It means the region is drawing a line. And again, the reporting frames this as having potential repercussions beyond Ekurhuleni itself. So now, picture the pressure on Lesufi. Picture the pressure on provincial leadership. If your provincial stability depends on a delicate balance and one metro threatens to blow it up, your whole political strategy becomes hostage. And at the exact same time, you are heading into a late March provincial conference battle. That is not normal politics. That is crisis politics. Now I want you to take one breath and think bigger. If Gauteng's internal ANC fight turns into a split, the consequences could include unstable metros if coalition arrangements break, more public infighting if conference disputes keep spilling into media, less focus on governance because energy goes into faction survival. Those are not predictions pulled from thin air. They are standard outcomes when political structures are fighting over control, and the reporting already shows the ingredients are there. A contested Johannesburg conference outcome, plus a push for a police probe according to one report, plus a counter-narrative that it stays internal according to another report. A metro, Ekurhuleni, described as on edge, with pressure to remove EFF members, and provincial leadership worried about ripple effects in other metros and the province. A late March provincial conference season, described as crucial for who emerges with momentum toward 2027. Now here is the clean way to say it. Even if every legal process is followed perfectly from here, the perception of internal warfare can still damage public trust. And in politics, trust is oxygen. When it runs out, the party starts suffocating. So here is the question I want you to answer in the comments. Do you think this is about accountability, cleaning up elections, and fixing internal processes? Or do you think this is about faction control, shutting down momentum, and shaping the 2027 succession battle before it even starts? Be careful with your words. Stick to what is reported, mark your theories as theories, but do not ignore the timing. Late March, 3 provinces, 1 prize. If you want more coverage like this, hit like now and subscribe because we are not done digging, because the next move in Gauteng could decide who walks into 2027 with the crown already half built.